This is SaaS Therapy.
Welcome to this episode of SaaS Therapy. My name is Trujillo, and I will be your host today. Unfortunately, Todd Kirk is on vacation, so it'll just be myself. And the nice thing is, without Todd, this will be a very short episode. Because you know Todd Bott starts talking forever, and he goes down to some beautiful comparison that he uses about space or wells. Or if you've listened to the show, you know what I'm talking about. But I love my guy TK. He does such a great job, and we miss him. So what I want to talk to you about today is a customer that I worked with, and I want to put you in the shoes of your direct customer. So let me set the stage here. I'm working with a very large SaaS organization that produces, project management tools and different types of applications. And we had set up a proof of concept with one of their bigger accounts. And this bigger account implemented the experience. So it's an internal experience. So let me describe the experience. So what was given to the customer was their own private portal of this SaaS vendor. So meaning that kind of just think of it as their own private learning academy for the SaaS vendor. So the SaaS vendor created their own private portal for this customer. So their own basically learning academy. It had in email communications. It had in training courses. It had built-in reporting, built-in SSO. It had everything that the customer needed. All they did is needed to connect their SSO and then have the SaaS vendor tell them what comms to send to their employees that were licensed for this software, what training courses to recommend, and then just see what happens. And so that's what they did. And so what our platform does, just so you know how I'm involved, is our platform does that. It does the private portals where it works. It's basically the bridge between the SaaS vendor and the customer. So the SaaS vendor creates all of the experiences, puts it into our portal. Our system creates then the private portal for the customer to be able to use with all the SSO and everything ready to do the reports and all that, all automated. So the SaaS vendor's direct customer, if I haven't lost you yet, the SaaS vendor's direct customer sends out the first communications to their own employees. Okay, so I want to just stop there. It's the customer sending communications that the SaaS vendor wants to their licensed users, but it's coming from someone at that company. Okay, so you can imagine open rates, read rates are going to be much higher. Well, the company, the direct customer, wants to put in a reminder nudge. The company wants to put a due date and when they need to take the training, right? All of these things helps the direct customer push the education to their users because they want these users to do these things because that's why they bought the license, right? Makes sense, right? Now, the beautiful thing is the SaaS vendor gets to see the same data that the customer is seeing. They get to see what was the open rate, read rates of that communication, who's taking training, how are they answering surveys, what's actually taking place, but they're not the one doing the work, right? Now, the purpose of this is not to sell you on private portals and all of this, though I would if I could. The purpose of this is a statement that when I put the direct customer back in contact with the customer education team at this large SaaS vendor, I want you to pay attention to this. And this is going to putting ourselves in the shoes of our direct customer. So the direct customer is on the phone, the point of contact that's over this platform that they bought, and they're talking to that SaaS vendor. The SaaS vendor customer education teams ask the direct customer, what has been your favorite benefit of having this private portal to push out education around our product? And this is what the point of contact said. In just less than 30 days, we have estimated that you have saved us over 150 hours of time. Now, this isn't time using the SaaS company's product. It's 150 hours of this point of contact and her team of 2 in getting communications out to their end users, in getting training out to their end users, in seeing reports to give back to their management team to say, this is how the project is going and rolling out this new software. In 30 days, 150 150 hours. So there's a bunch of takes I want to have on this 150 hours. Number one, just think about if this one customer saved 150 hours in 30 days, how many more of your customers aren't doing the things that you would want them to do to help make their users aware that they have licenses to the software because it takes that much time? So let me walk you through this. So a direct customer, if they want to send the communication, okay, one of two things has to happen. They have to ask you for the email templates. You have to send them the email templates. They have to then get the email templates. They have to then pass it on to their communications team internally at that company. So let's just call the company ABC company, right? So your point of contact has to go to their ABC company marketing team or communications team internally and say, here's emails that the SaaS vendor wants me to send. Do we approve of these? No, I don't like them. I want to change the wording. I want to add the logo. Okay, so now what do you got to do? You got to go back to the SaaS vendor, ask them if that's okay. They then create it, send it back to you. You then give it to the comms team. The comms team says, who are we going to send this to? Oh, let me give you an Excel file of the groups of users that we want to send this to. They give it to them. The internal comms team has to put that into some internal system that they may or may not have. The comms team sends it out. Most people just send it out via Outlook, right? They send it out to groups of users that they make. It gets sent out. The comms team has no idea if that was successful. They're kind of maybe upset that they even sent a comms about this because communications is so sacred, right? You ask the comms team, did it go well? They don't know. You don't know. Your SaaS vendor CSM asks you, did that go well with sending out the comms? You don't know. They don't know, right? Okay, so was that even worth it? So you stop communicating. Okay, that's one example. Again, going back to this 150 hours. Second part, the point of contacts, two of them. This customer had 8,000 licenses of this software. How are two people going to train 8,000 people? So who do they spend their time with? They spend their time with hopefully influencers. They hopefully are spending their times with managers. But usually what's happening is they're spending time with people that are the loudest complainers. And they're spending time saying, hey, let me walk you through this. They're doing virtual instructor-led training classes for 30 minutes or an hour. How many people come to that? Maybe 5. So they're investing 150 hours to train like 30 people, if that, on the basics. Well, what makes it worse is other people are going into the product and just trying to figure it out on their own. So they start to make mistakes. So that then increases support calls. Do you see how this 150 hours is adding up super, super, super fast? That's the thing I don't think that people really understand on the SaaS side of things. Is all the things you're asking your person to do to go make this successful. And they just give up and say it's not worth it. And so your product, hopefully, is able to do the things it needs to do to make it successful. Because they can't help you, your point of contact. They can't get to all 8,000 users or 100 users or 300 users, right? Let alone get them past the basics of what your feature does and get them into the better features, the more sticky features, the things that's going to separate what you actually do as a SaaS platform, right? And why they bought it. They're not even going to get to those enterprise type features. Now, there'll be a select few, the early adopters that will, but the majority will never get there because they don't even know those features and benefits exist. So my short on this SaaS therapy is to really dive down and understand how much time it takes your customers to properly make their users aware, to get education out there, and to be able to know what that education is helping. So again, I'm going to go back to the Cinderella story, which isn't a Cinderella story. It's just thinking through the execution of how to actually make this happen. This customer, in less than 30 days, trained almost 700 employees. Now, I know there's still 8,000, but 700 were trained without the 2 point of contacts having to train anybody. The training courses have what's called adaptive learning, where it presents use case scenarios of what do you want out of this product? What are the business outcomes that you want? Don't all the talking heads talk about value realization? Get to that first business outcome. Well, what outcome does every user want? It's different for everybody, right? So if I'm presenting use cases and the user's choosing which use case and the training's changing according to the use case, do you see how we're going to get there faster? Do you see how those people then start to talk to their neighbor? Do you see how this now starts to spread? And now, as this direct point of contact is in their dashboard and looking at comments from the users that have taken training, the feedback is the way that we set this up is too complicated. There should be this change and this change and this change. And all of a sudden, now the point of contact, these two people can be more strategic in thinking through, hey, maybe we design this a little bit too hard for our end users to use, because that's the feedback we're getting. But again, those 2 point of contacts did nothing besides look at the dashboard. They did nothing besides push play and send the comms out, and they get to see open rates. They get to see read rates. Because they have data. Again, I'm not selling you on my platform. What I'm selling you on is data, information, insights, simplicity. And I don't think we understand as SaaS organizations how hard we make it for our customers to push out any awareness, any education, get any reporting in a way that they can do in a short amount of time. Because guess what? This point of contact for this SaaS product also owns 4 other products. Not this product, but 4 other product lines that they need to get adoption of, that they need to train end users on. It's only going to get worse with AI and people going in there and do vibe coding and creating their own products and different things like that. Outside of your products, internal products, there is so much that information that users need to understand. And the only information they're looking for is how it helps them in their daily work. And the people that are going to get stuck with trying to answer that are these point of contacts. They get overwhelmed, throw up their arms, and just say, you know what? The strong will survive. The weak will fail. We can make it easier for them. So again, my homework, as we always end a SaaS therapy episode on, is just take one of your customers and say, hey, how much time do you devote in making users aware of our product, of the features and the benefits of the product? How much time are you spending in training? And you're going to get one of 2 answers. You're going to get very little, or they're spending a lot of time. And either use case isn't great. So thank you for listening to SaaS Therapy. Again, our goal is always to connect you to your direct customers, because that is where the value is realized. That is where we get our renewals, our upsells, everything like that, is if they're having success. So how do we create a better experience for them? Well, it takes some therapy sessions, given, but it also takes us to put ourselves in the shoes of those people that are being asked to get that return on investment on the product that they just purchased. So thank you as always for joining SaaS Therapy. Homework assignment, go just ask one customer how much time they're spending in making people aware, communicating, training people on your product, and you'll be underwhelmed or overwhelmed in the amount of time it's taking them to do that. Thank you for joining SaaS Therapy. Like, share, comment. We're just always amazed about how this continues to grow. Thank you for sharing this information with others. We hope it helps. Please reach out to us directly if there's anything else that we can do, or a topic you want to cover, or a guest that we should have on. Thank you for being a loyal listener of SaaS Therapy.
SaaS Therapy is brought to you by Brainstorm, the SaaS platform for SaaS adoption. Learn more at brainstorminc.com.